Unipipe is a blue pipe system, if you will, that many of you have probably seen around. Blue pipe is kind of the generic term for aluminum compressed air piping. There are several different products available on the market, but it's been generally accepted in the market for the last 5 to 10 years, but it's been available for closer to 25 years, introduced in the late 1990s. So the advantage of Unipipe are the fast installation. That's probably the #1 key compared to traditional piping systems. Specific to Unipipe is there's no special tools required. It's the only system available with pressures, and this is rated pressures up to 1,015 psi, not to be confused with burst pressure. There's 13 pipe sizes available, and the exceptionally secure joints, and that's really the key to have the ability to transport gases and fluids at 1,015 psi. So the Unipipe advantage is a 100% aluminum piping system. So what we mean by that is both the aluminum pipe is 100% aluminum as well as the fittings. The only plastic on the fitting is an identifying ring that we change the color on to help identify different fluids or gases. There's many fittings and accessories available. It connects very easily. There's no special tools required, no grooving or crimping. A lot of the traditional systems, as well as other blue pipe systems available on the market, once you get over, I believe it's 2.5 inch, 3 inch, somewhere in there, and above, there's now special grooving we need to do to the pipe to allow the fitting to have something to lock onto. That's not the case with Unipipe. Unipipe has also got the best working temperature from -22 degrees Fahrenheit to +266. So this allows for installation in outdoor applications in many parts of the country. The +266 allows for installation in, say, paint booths that might have a bake cycle, things of that nature. Allows you a lot more flexibility for applications. We touched on the high pressure. This allows for applications in things such as bottle blowing, which is typically up to about 600 psi, and that is, there we go. 1 second here. Is that better? Yep, no feedback now. We touched on the bottle blowing. Allows for a lot wider range of applications. Another one is multi-fluid systems. You take car dealerships where they've got many different types of motor oil, transmission fluid, even windshield washer fluid, coming out to the bank of hose reels to be able to service car automobiles, or even in the heavy equipment industry, servicing of tractors, combines. They all use this. It's traditionally referred to as multi-fluid systems. Well, there's now an aluminum option available for this, and it's becoming very well accepted in the industry, just primarily due to the reduced cost compared to a stainless steel system, or the reduced labor to install it. So there's currently in stock, there's 4 options. There's the Unipipe Air, which covers that's majority of the applications used for compressed air, but it can be used for anything. Any of the 4 options can be used to transport any of the oils, gases, compressed air, whatever it may be. The O-ring and the fittings are the same. Again, it's just that identifying ring you see there that we change to match the color of the pipe. So for compressed air, nitrogen, high pressure demands, vacuum, any oils, coolants, anything that's compatible with aluminum, obviously, but then the O-ring or the seal inside of the fitting is HNBR, so we want to make sure we're compatible with that as well. We have had a couple of applications where we've changed out that O-ring to something a bit more aggressive due to a specific application, changed it out to silicone as an example. We've got a vast array here of sizes available, That's from 3/4 inch through 10 inch. It's currently in stock in Chicago up to 6 inch, with 8 and 10 inch coming a little bit later this year. There is some unique sizes in here, such as the 5 inch, as well as the 3 inch 75 millimeter. These are not as common in the marketplace, but these are unique sizes that allow us to fill in between a couple sizes, which allows us to really meet the customer's specific needs, both now and potentially down the road. But by having a size that is ideal for them without skipping sizes, so to say, allows us to be more competitive and get the customer the system they need with no pressure drop now, as well as far as they can see into the future. So what really makes Unipipe different? And this comes down to the unique fitting design. As we said, the fittings are 100% aluminum, completely reusable. They do not contain any plastic. The nut is completely contained inside the fitting. So this here is the nut, and it threads on the internal side of the fitting. This protects it, as the nut is what really is holding the pipe into the fitting, if you will, or it's securing the grip ring, which is holding the pipe into the fitting. So by protecting that nut inside the fitting, there's less likely to be a failure if anything's ever hit. We know in many applications where these systems are installed in manufacturing facilities, fork trucks driving around, all kinds of things can go wrong at any given time. So we want the most robust system we can get. Another question we get a fair bit is, how long are the O-rings guaranteed for? Or when would I expect to have to replace them? And the answer is we would never expect you to have to replace them. The few things that cause O-rings to go bad are exposure to sunlight, excessive heat, or outside of the rated capacity of the material, the O-ring material, and then movement, none of which are present in this application where the fitting is, or sorry, the pipe is secured into the fitting. We have no exposure to sunlight. There's no movement on the pipe in the fitting. And as long as we're within the temperature tolerances we reviewed earlier, from -22 to plus 266 Fahrenheit, which is a pretty extreme range, there's no reason for that O-ring to fail now or even years down the road. We actually have a 20-year guarantee on this. So the one key item that makes this unique is this 360-degree stainless steel grip ring or clamp ring. So that actually has two sharp edges cut into it, one on both sides, if you will. And the reason it's not 365-degree, it's a 360, is there's a small slit cut in it that allows for the grip ring to tighten down on the pipe. So essentially you've got all the way around the pipe, except for just a small section where the clamp ring can dig into the pipe. So we're not just a couple fingers, so to say. Maybe you may be familiar with the shark bite type technology used in a lot of water lines and such, where it's approved in different areas around the country. But that's got like some stainless steel fingers that tie and grab onto the pipe. And honestly, those fingers are really tying or gripping into the paint as much as they are anything else. We've been told that if the pipe wasn't painted the way they are, those fittings would not grip on as well as they do. So that's not the case with our fitting. It's the reason it's stainless steel is so that it's harder than the aluminum, and it will actually bite right into the aluminum pipe. There'll be some photos which I can show you on that here in just a bit. The Unipipe fittings, because they're 100% aluminum, they're not only lightweight, but they're very strong. And because of the mechanical connection you have between the fitting and the pipe, we're not going to have pipe sagging if we don't have hangers within a couple feet of every joint. So where you'll experience a failure or a potential failure is when pipe is not properly supported and it starts to sag near a fitting and it doesn't allow for the fitting to grip onto the pipe the way it should. That's less likely to happen with the Unipipe system because of the mechanical connection and it's very robust when it's installed. So it's very easy to modify and add drops. You can change an elbow out to a T in a matter of seconds, especially on the smaller stuff. And when it's easy to modify a system like that, typically you'll see the modifications are done correctly, if that's the right way to say it. Instead of running hose back on the pipe, if we can simply drill a hole into a fitting, into the side of the pipe and add another outlet, because it's so easy to do, it's done properly. Is there any questions or anything we need to answer at this point? Okay. So we touched on this. It requires fewer pipe supports. One of the key things with hanging pipe, nearly half the battle is putting up your pipe supports. And some of the other blue pipe systems on the market require that a pipe support is installed within 3 feet of any direction of a fitting. So imagine a T, for instance, you would have to have a pipe support 3 feet of either side of the run, and then 3 feet of the branch side as well. If you don't install the pipe supports properly, the warranty is void. Again, the Unipipe system with the integrity of the fittings, all we suggest is that the piping is installed in a similar fashion. Pipe supports are installed in a similar fashion the way you would any traditional pipe system, such as copper or black iron. And that in turn saves a lot of installation time. As we touched on, we've got the 20-year warranty against leaks or failure. So here we've got just a quick video that shows the installation of a few different aspects of the system.
Thank you, Derrick. I do have a quick poll I'd like to launch here real fast.
Just a moment here.
Okay, it's about how often are you involved in projects that involve process piping that's not for water or natural gas? Never, sometimes, or regularly? Okay, well, that is, let me show the results here real fast. Okay, it looks like sometimes and regularly. So that's great that we do have people that are actually involved in doing this. So great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that. So move on here to next slide. I think I can do it without making this video play. Oh, there we go. So we touched on Unipipe as compared to other blue pipe systems a little bit. Maybe not be as familiar with those, but you're probably more familiar with compared to, or you're more familiar with traditional piping systems. And this photo here is, when I first seen it, I just said, hey, come on, guys, can we come up with something a little more realistic? This isn't something we see. But this was actually a photo of one of the installers that was removing some old black pipe and replacing it with Unipipe, took and sent into the office. And I know in my years experience in the field, I have seen pipes that got to this point. And this is really the number one issue with using iron pipe for compressed air. The corrosion, once any kind of moisture starts within the piping system, there's no going back. Even drying it out sometimes actually makes it worse because the rust starts internally and continues to corrode. So when compared to traditional pipings, as in black iron or even galvanized, not to the same extent, but it does happen. Everywhere you cut a galvanized pipe before you start threading, you've got exposed steel, and the rust starts from there and starts moving back, and then you get the galvanized coating starting to flake off. So you will still experience it to a not as extreme, but you will experience the rust and corrosion in galvanized piping as well. So just even from day one of installing black pipe, if it's being cut and threaded, which anything traditionally 2-inch and below would be, you're injecting oil and dirt contaminants into the system just as part of the cutting and threading process. So there should always be point of use filtration when using iron pipe, and we actually do a fair bit with leak repair in one of the businesses I'm part of here in Chicagoland area, due to incentives put on by the local power companies. But the highest percentage of leakage you'll see is usually at the point of use: filters, regulators, lubricators, all that fun stuff leaking. So the more of that, the more likely you're going to see leakage. The other downside to iron piping is the downtime needed for and the labor needed for modifications. So if you got existing, 2-inch iron pipe and you want to put in a T somewhere, that can be a couple-hour process of removing the pipe and threading and putting in unions and getting that done properly. So what happens traditionally, what we see is between every pipe coupling, or where they're joining pipes together, they don't use couplings, they use T's and plugs, or even more extreme, they'll use T's and ball valves. A lot of this goes away with aluminum pipe because it's so easy to tap into it later. We don't need to worry about installing T's for future use because we can put in a T in the matter of minutes. We can even tie into the system live in certain applications. So obviously, another point here we'd like to make is the smooth bore of aluminum piping. This is an extruded aluminum pipe, so it's very smooth on the inner bore, which translates to a very smooth airflow, very unlike what you'll see in iron pipe, which causes a turbulent airflow, which promotes pressure drop. So you might have, in a more extreme application, a slightly smaller inside diameter pipe, aluminum pipe, which flows more air than what a slightly larger inside diameter traditional iron pipe would. So that translates to less pressure drop, and pressure drop can be very expensive in compressed air systems. So it's less likely to corrode, obviously, as we've seen, less likely to leak. Anywhere you do have a leak, once again, it's usually due to an installation issue where we nicked an O-ring or something happened there, but it's so easy to fix it. Unlike perhaps unthreading fittings, resealing them up, or potentially welding fittings back together. So I believe the poll we took at the beginning of the presentation, a lot of you felt that copper was the best application for compressed air piping. And I'd say it's probably the most, it's the best comparison when comparing to aluminum, because a lot of the things that come along with the benefits of copper or aluminum are the same. And that mostly has to do with the air quality that you're going to get from where you're generating the compressed air to your point of use. Copper is not going to corrode the way black iron will. And that's typically a reason why people prefer copper. And that's obviously a good thing to do. But copper is very expensive, just the materials, even more so as of lately. Copper raw material goods have doubled in the last 12 months. But it's also very time consuming to install, unless if you use the copper pro press system, of which then it's more expensive for the materials. But whether it's brazed or pressed or soldered, the fittings are not reusable. So that's one of the key advantages to Unipipe is when you're doing modifications, this Unipipe is much easier because you can disassemble fittings and reuse them. Again, for instance, changing an elbow out to a T in just a matter of seconds, or even on the largest size, matter of minutes, saves a lot of time and money. And then reusing that fitting. So on our YouTube channel, you can actually watch this. This is actually a video of myself, unfortunately, but it's a side-by-side comparison showing assembly of just a few simple fittings, both done in copper versus Unipipe. And you'll see Unipipe is actually 3 times faster when installing compared to soldered joints on copper. You just don't have any of that prep time with cleaning the pipe and flexing the pipe, and then obviously soldering the joint and then cleaning it after you've soldered it as well. So you're really trying to demonstrate Unipipe as the obvious option when compared to copper. So this here is wanted to just demonstrate a bit more as to what makes the fitting far superior when compared to other blue pipe systems on the market. A little bit difficult to see, but you can see in the picture here these grooves in the pipe, and that's where the that grip ring would have locked onto the pipe. You can see here this is all in metric numbers, but 98 bar. A bar is about 14.7 psi. So if for round numbers, call this 1400 psi, somewhere just north of that, 1450. Where the pipe actually failed out the side before the fitting ever came off. You can see that the fitting would have been locked down there and sealed the whole time. This is just over 100 bar, 136 bar. And these are some large diameter pipes. This would be our 6-inch pipe failing at 114 bar. Again, that's about just shy of 1600 psi. So that's really our claim to fame, that the pipe will fail before the fittings will. And it just shows how robust that grip ring is. And really just the way it works is as the pressure increases, really that grip ring is only going to become tighter in there because of the way the bevels are cut on that, the nut and the grip ring. It's as the pressure increases, they just lock together tighter and tighter. So pretty simple technology, but very effective. So this here is a video we want to show you just to demonstrate at what pressure this does fail. So we actually did this at a trade show recently, showing this exact example, and it gathered a ton of attention just because there's nothing else in the market that does this. So what we're going to show you here is a piece of, this is 25 millimeter, 1-inch equivalent. It's just 2 straight pieces of pipe with a standard fitting in the middle. So when I say standard, as we discussed, we have 2 different systems, just the standard Unipipe Air, and then we have the Unipipe HP. The only difference between those systems is the wall thickness of the pipe. So again, this here is Unipipe Air, our standard product. The rated pressure is 232 psi, and we're going to show you at what point does it actually fail. And again, the pressure here is in bar. I wanted to play for me here.
leave them.
Oops. It was all working perfectly previously. I'm going to go back one more slide here. Sorry, folks. Well, I'll tell you what happens here. This the pipe broke out here just like what we've seen in those previous photos at right around 3,600 psi. So it's quite impressive. The fitting never moves, never slips, never fails, and the smaller diameter pipes obviously go to a much higher pressure before they fail compared to the larger diameter ones like we've seen on the previous slide here. Again, those are all larger diameters. So imagine the smaller diameters like we're seeing down here, 136, and I believe that's probably still a 2-inch pipe right there. The 1-inch pipe just goes that much higher. Try one last time. Sorry, folks. But again, just a testament to the quality of the fitting and how securely it fastens on there. So again, when compared to other blue pipe systems, we've got the most secure joints. And that's due to our proprietary clamp ring design, which is just this ring right in here. They're 5 times more secure than other systems. The burst pressure obviously is rated for, according to ASME, you have to be, I believe it's 5 times higher than the rated pressure. And we're beyond that, especially on our standard air system. We're well over 10 times on the 1.5 inch system and below. So we've got a very good differential there on the working pressure to burst pressure. So industry leading, actually. So that really helps with the end users and getting their confidence levels up on a system like this compared to traditional piping systems. So because of the joints like this, it really helps us with a much wider range of opportunities that we can cover. Again, with the multi-fluid systems, high pressure nitrogen systems, running laser equipment, bottle blowing applications. All these are available to be done with the Unipipe system, whereas with any of the other blue pipe systems on the market, that's not an option. Traditionally, those systems are good for somewhere around 200 psi and potentially even less as the diameter increases. So we've got the widest range of pipe sizes available. Because of our fittings, it's safer and more reliable. We've got the lowest cost of ownership. That's due to being leak-free, corrosion-free, the installation cost being the lowest, not requiring as many hangers as some of the other systems out there. But then compared to traditional systems, the installation time is so much less. One of the other things I wanted to just touch on is we had a situation even just recently. The customer did not want to even consider using a blue pipe aluminum piping system for their compressed air because his budgets were tight. And at the end of the day, the customer ended up getting quotes from multiple sources for black pipe, which in his mind was going to be the lowest cost, of which in this application, all his quotes came back at over $100,000 to do this particular install. The blue pipe system came in at, it was just under $70,000. So it's something we've battled with over the years, is this misconception that blue pipe is more expensive. Well, with the cost of labor rising and the cost of iron, the cost of copper having gone up, aluminum has as well, but not as much proportionally, the raw materials compared to the actual end product. What I mean by that is the weight of the materials compared to the machining and whatnot that's gone into the fittings. Seems like that's lower than when compared to iron pipe. So the blue pipe is the obvious choice for compressed air, any blue pipe, but Unipipe's got some specific advantages. So it's really something to keep in mind. You're doing your customers an absolute favor, so to say, by speccing in any blue pipe system for when being used for compressed air. But we feel Unipipe is far superior. The other neat thing is there's a few other, like I said, blue pipe systems on the market, but our fittings are compatible with their pipe. So even if there's an existing system installed, we can use our fittings on their pipe and then vice versa. So customers not necessarily locked in for a specialty system that perhaps a relationship dissolved or didn't go as planned down the road, and they don't feel they can get the product anymore from who they originally bought it from. They're not locked in. It's pretty universal. So we touched on the 20-year warranty. It's very safe and reliable, very simple and quick to install, seals perfectly for zero leakage, no special tools required, largest pipe size range available. So a lot of these are specific points to Unipipe, no special tools required. Again, all the way through 10-inch on that is exclusive to Unipipe. The 20-year warranty is exclusive to Unipipe. And the largest range of pipe size available, again, exclusive to Unipipe. So if the project can be done with aluminum, there's a better chance we can do it properly with Unipipe and do it faster and more cost effectively when compared to other options on the market. So we've got a demo kit that you're free to request. Got some of it here. Kind of looks like this, as you can see on the screen. But it's got a few pieces of pipe in there. I can just demonstrate real quick how it is, but the fittings come assembled like that. There's no reason to pull anything apart. The grip ring is inside there, the O-rings, everything's assembled. You simply push the pipe into the fitting on both sides. You would go hand tight, and then the demo kit comes with a small wrench, but you can tighten it up just a bit further on either side. And that's done. This is not going anywhere. And I would put this just like that right into our pressure test chamber. And I guarantee you this fitting would not fail, and the pipe would fail somewhere north of 3,000 PSI. But then for disassembling it, it's just like that as well. Loosen the fitting, just kind of unset that grip ring a little bit by just giving it a slight wiggle or even just pushing it back together, and it unsets. And you can very easily disassemble the product and reuse the fitting, change an elbow out again to a T or something of that nature, and you've got yourself a fitting that can be used anywhere else. So it's very simple, very clean. Anybody without a lot of pipe fitting experience can do this, and that's really the point of the demo kit, is to show whoever it may be how simple this is to install, so you don't have to rely on specifically skilled labor to do modifications or anything of that nature in the future. So you're free to request this. You can just go onto the unipipesolutions.com website and request a free demo kit, and we'll get these sent out to you. It also comes with a neat little video card that kind of shows off some of the product videos, but real simple, and all comes as part of the demo kit. So we encourage you, if there's interest in it, get your team acquainted with it in a better way. Just request the demo kit, and then even to show your potential customers or clients down the road if they've got questions as to why you're speccing in this product to a project. So it goes a long ways. But that's really about it from us. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or concerns.
I do want to mention that with the Unipipe, we do have a full inventory of the Unipipe is stocked up in our Burnsville location in near Minneapolis. So I know you guys are located up there. So we do have locally, we do have inventory available for you as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you have, does anybody have any questions? You can go ahead and share it in the question and answer section if you do.
Product is primarily stocked here in Chicago area, suburb just outside of Chicago in Schaumburg. And got it in stock by the miles, again, up through 6-inch, both in the Unipipe Air, the Unipipe Nitro, the green product, the Unipipe high pressure system is stocked as well up to 2-inch. And gray will be here in about the next 2-3 weeks.
I don't see that we have any questions. I do want to thank you for attending, and I hope you did enjoy your lunch. We will be sending everybody out email that does have a copy of the video. So if you do have any questions, you certainly can respond to that at a later date. Or you could, of course, get a hold of Derrick at derrick.taylor@unipipesolutions.com. That's there on your screen. And we do appreciate you taking your time today.
Thank you very much.